Fighting continues in Sudan despite a 24-hour ceasefire. The two sides, that is Sudan's army and the Rapid Support Forces, accused each other of violating the ceasefire. Clashes re-erupted between the rival forces in central Khartoum, that's Sudan's capital. Over 270 people have been killed due to the clashes that began on Saturday. UN Aid Chief Martin Griffiths has said there are reports of attacks and sexual violence against aid workers in Sudan. Griffiths added that humanitarian aid workers and facilities continue to be targeted. He called it an unacceptable act that must stop. Both Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin traveled to the war's front lines. Zelensky visited soldiers in Donetsk. Putin met his commanders in Luhansk and Kherson. Meanwhile, fighting is raging in and around the city of Bakhmut. Ukrainian forces claim to be holding the city despite Russian attacks. Evan Gershkovich, the American reporter arrested in Russia on espionage charges, has lost the appeal against his arrest. Court documents gave only a basic outline of the case against Gershkovich. He's accused of collecting state secrets about the military-industrial complex in Russia. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has condemned the war in Ukraine. While speaking at a lunch with Romania's president, Lula reiterated that a group of neutral nations must come together to help broker a peace deal. Lula has pitched himself as a peace broker to end the war. His comments come after a White House official accused Lula of parroting Russian and Chinese propaganda without looking at the facts. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in Caracas. During the meeting, Lavrov handed a folder of documents sent by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Earlier, Lavrov said that Russia and Venezuela are set to expand their cooperation agreements in energy, investment, trade and finance. Venezuela is a close ally of Russia, and Maduro has been vocal about his support for Putin. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered officials to launch the country's first spy satellite. He said that boosting reconnaissance capabilities is a priority to counter threats by the US and South Korea. In December, North Korea conducted what it called an important final phase test of a spy satellite. The country's official news agency has reported that the satellite production has been completed. China has warned Guatemala against helping Taiwan in its quote-unquote independence attempts. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said, and I quote, "Any move that ignores the world trend and international justice and stubbornly adheres to the wrong position is doomed to failure." Taiwan is a democratically governed island. China says Taiwan is part of its territory. A fire broke out in a hospital in China's capital, Beijing. 21 people have been killed. Staff helped evacuate more than 70 patients after the fire broke out. Some people tried to escape by climbing out of the windows using makeshift ropes. Others took refuge inside an air conditioning unit. The cause of the fire is under investigation. British Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt has said that he wants to stick to plans to bring down inflation in the country. This comes after Britain became the only country in Western Europe with double-digit inflation in March. Hunt acknowledged that this is a very difficult period. Prices of basic items like milk, sugar and olive oil are about 40% higher than a year ago. The United Nations has said that it's ready to withdraw from Afghanistan. This is if it fails to convince the Taliban to allow local women to work for the organization. The UN has expressed serious concern over the Taliban's decision to ban Afghan female staff members from reporting to work. The organization said that life-saving aid in the country would be at risk without female staff. The president of Zimbabwe has vowed that general elections will be free and fair. The elections are expected to be held later this year, but no date has been announced yet. The country's president is seeking re-election. His party has been accused of using violence and intimidation to instill fear in opponents during the elections. A 4-story parking structure collapsed in New York City's Manhattan area. At least one person has been killed and 5 others have been injured. Robotic devices and firefighters have been deployed to help in search and rescue operations. No foul play has been suspected. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a heatwave alert for parts of India. This includes the states of Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Sikkim and Jharkhand. In the national capital, New Delhi, some weather stations recorded a maximum temperature that was at least 5 degrees Celsius above normal. Pakistan's KHYBER Pass witnessed a landslide during a thunderstorm. At least 3 people have been killed and dozens are feared trapped. The landslide happened on the main route that connects Pakistan with Afghanistan. It's a major transit point for trade between South Asian nations and Central Asia. Hundreds of forest fires have destroyed over 64,000 hectares of pine forests in the Central American nation of Honduras this year. Authorities say that around 70% of the fires were caused by criminals and the rest by poor agricultural practices. Last year, more than 1,000 forest fires destroyed over 98,000 hectares of land in Honduras. The United Nations has said that 48 million people in West and Central Africa face acute food insecurity in the coming months. This will be triggered by the climate crisis, COVID-19 and rising food prices. West and Central Africa have faced increasing risk caused by high temperatures and erratic rainfall. The ongoing war in Ukraine has contributed to food and fertilizer shortages. Colombia's army is gearing up for a possible volcanic eruption. The Nevado del Ruiz volcano has been emitting plumes of smoke and ash. Authorities are updating the population about the volcano's activities and delivering first aid kits. The volcano had erupted in the year 1985 and killed more than 25,000 people. It was Colombia's biggest ever natural disaster. Chile's government has approved an environmental permit for an extension of a copper mines project. This will cost about $3 billion. The extension seeks to sustain production levels and extend the mine's life to 2036. Environmentalists and social groups have criticized the move. They say it will have a long-term impact on nearby glaciers and the water supply in the area. The European Union has approved reforms to make its climate change policies more ambitious. This includes upgrading the bloc's carbon market. The market aims to hike the cost of polluting in Europe. The carbon market forces power plants and factories to buy carbon dioxide permits when they pollute. Under the upgrade, factories will lose any free CO2 permits by 2023. Financial giant HSBC's biggest shareholder, Ping An, has renewed its calls for breaking up the bank. Ping An is an asset management company. It is said that the bank failed to address key business model challenges. The shareholders say that failure to solve the challenges led to the deterioration in the company's performance. Britain's competition regulator has launched a Phase 1 investigation into Amazon's acquisition of iRobot. iRobot is a vacuum cleaner maker. The regulator is probing whether the deal will hinder competition in UK markets. This comes at a time when antitrust regulators have become increasingly wary of giant companies acquiring smaller rivals. French spirits group Pernod Ricard is entirely suspending the export of its premium vodka Absolute to Russia. Last week, reports of its continuing sales to Russia sparked criticism. The company is reportedly still supplying spirits of its other brands. Pernod Ricard had earlier reduced its sale to Russia after the country invaded Ukraine. China has banned the entry of senior executives of US weapons companies Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. China had also banned the two firms from carrying out import and export activities with Chinese enterprises. Raytheon and Lockheed have been selling arms to Taiwan for a long time. Elon Musk-owned Twitter has quietly removed a policy that prohibited misgendering of transgender people. The policy protected the rights of transgender people against repeatedly and purposefully being called the wrong name or pronoun. According to reports, the rest of the webpage explaining these policies remains unchanged. Microsoft is developing its own artificial intelligence chip named Athena. This will be used in powering the technology behind AI chatbots like ChatGPT. It will help chatbots process large amounts of data, recognize patterns, and mimic human conversation. Leaders of the Federal Trade Commission in the US will take action against companies that misuse AI tools to violate laws against discrimination. FTC Chair Lina Khan agreed that the newest versions of AI could be used to turbocharge fraud and scams. This comes after the recent popularity of ChatGPT triggered calls for the regulation of AI tools. Facebook owner Meta Platforms is set to commence a fresh round of layoffs. The move will reportedly wipe away nearly 4,000 positions. This comes as part of the company's cost-cutting moves. The job cuts will impact all its verticals, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Reality Labs. Walt Disney is also reportedly planning to cut thousands of jobs starting next week. This will include 15% of its staff in its entertainment division. The layoffs will affect the TV and film unit as well as theme parks and corporate positions. Disney will lay off employees from every region where it operates. Netflix has reportedly added more than 1 million subscribers in the first quarter of this year. The streaming giant is also expanding its plan to crack down on unsanctioned password sharing. The company is started rolling out a paid password sharing option. Currently, the option is available only in 12 countries. The company will expand the option in other countries by the second quarter. Moving on to sports. In cricket, Indian pacer Mohammad Siraj has filed a report with the anti-corruption unit of the BCCI. Siraj said that he was approached by an unknown person who wanted quote-unquote insider news about Siraj's IPL team, the Royal Challengers Bangalore. The unnamed suspect has also confessed that he has lost a lot of money by betting on Siraj's team. Australian batter David Warner has been retained in the squad for the upcoming Ashes series. The Ashes are where Australia face arch rivals England. Along with Warner, Marcus Harris and Matt Renshaw have also secured a top spot in the Aussie squad. 36-year-old Warner has been suffering from an elbow injury, which had raised doubts about his selection. In football, Al Nassr skipper Cristiano Ronaldo was handed a yellow card for putting an opponent player in a headlock. The Portuguese striker made a robust challenge on Colombian midfielder Gustavo Cuellar, which ended with the headlock. Ronaldo's team also suffered a 2-0 loss to Al Hilal in the Saudi Pro League. AC Milan beat Napoli to reach the Champions League semi-final thanks to a first-half goal by Olivier Giroud. Napoli's Victor Osimhen scored the equalizer on a penalty. However, Napoli lost to Milan on a 2-1 aggregate. AC Milan will now face the winner between Inter and Benfica, who play each other on Wednesday. Real Madrid breeze past Chelsea into the semi-finals of the Champions League. Real Madrid's Rodrigo scored twice for his club in the second half of the match. The Brazilian's double gave Real Madrid a 4-0 aggregate win over Chelsea. Real's victory sets them up for a mouth-watering clash against Manchester City. The American and Mexican national football teams will square off in the first Continental Classical Series. The two squads will be missing several regulars, however. This is because clubs have not released players to play for their national teams. The match will be played on Wednesday as the two rivals will face off for the 75th time. Juventus will attempt to overturn a 15-point deduction in the Serie A this season. They will appeal in front of Italy's top sports court. 11 former agents and current Juventus officials have been accused of fixing their balance sheets with artificial gains from club transfers. With 8 games left to play this season, a 15-point deduction would remove Juventus from various European championships. In American football, Buffalo Bills defensive player Damar Hamlin has been cleared by medics to return to the league. Hamlin had suffered a cardiac arrest during a match against Cincinnati Bengals in January. Medical specialists have cleared Hamlin's return, a decision that once seemed impossible. Russia's men's basketball team has been banned from competing in the 2024 Paris Olympics. The international governing body of basketball issued the ban following orders from the International Olympic Committee. Along with Russia, the men's team of Belarus has also been banned from the Paris Olympics. In snooker, Just Stop Oil activists disrupted a world championship game. The protester climbed on top of the pool table and threw orange powder on the pool table, damaging it and disrupting the match. The table was put out of action and had to be repaired overnight as it needed to be reclothed. K-pop band BTS's singer Jungkook has donated more than $700,000 to Seoul Children's Hospital. This is for the treatment of children from low-income families. The money will also be used in the Comprehensive Care Center to help families of young patients. Korean singer Lee Mi-joo is set to release her debut solo album. The album will be released on the 17th of May. This makes it the singer's first solo outing in a career of 9 years. She debuted on the Korean music scene with the all-girl band Lovelyz in 2014. Korean music band Les Seraphim will appear on the popular talk show Knowing Bros. The all-girl group is set to release its first album titled Unforgiven. The episode will air on the 29th of April. It's scheduled right before the album launch on the 1st of May. Indian crime series Rana Naidu gets renewed for a second season at Netflix. The show is an adaptation of the hit American crime series Ray Donovan. Rana Naidu trended on Netflix's global top 10 for non-English TV after debuting in March. The show stars Venkatesh Dagubati and Rana Dagubati in lead roles. Oscar-winning French director Lou Jacquet will be honored at the 76th Locarno Film Festival. He'll receive the 2023 Locarno Kids Award. The award honors film personalities who bring cinema to younger audiences. He'll be facilitated on the 7th of August in Locarno, Switzerland. Marvel Comics creator Stan Lee's documentary is set to premiere at the Tribeca Festival. Lee has created memorable comics and superheroes including Spider-Man, X-Men and the Avengers. The documentary will be available on streaming platforms on the 16th of June. Tribeca Festival will take place between the 7th and 18th of June in New York. The Cannes Directors Fortnight has announced its lineup for films for this year's edition. A total of 20 films will be screened at the 55th Directors Fortnight. Indian-French production Agra by director Kanu Behl is also part of the lineup. The screenings will take place between the 17th and 26th of May. The Swiss production titled The Song of the Scorpions will finally release in India on the 28th of April. The film premiered at the Locarno Film Festival in Switzerland in 2017. It is late Indian actor Irfan Khan's last feature film. The film also stars Iranian-French actor Golshifteh Farahani. Warner Bros. Studios is celebrating its 100th anniversary with a special lineup of films. The studio has ordered short film adaptations of 6 classic movies. They will run for 20 minutes each. Some of the films on the roster include A Star is Born and Rebel Without a Cause. Actor Jonathan Majors has been dropped from film projects after his arrest in an alleged assault case. He was to star in an executive star and executive produced the movie The Man in My Basement. He's also been dropped from a biopic on late singer Otis Redding. Majors was arrested on the 25th of March in New York on charges of domestic violence.